every working day is like wading through blood.
You want to feel like there is more to life than just getting through with the least possible amount of discomfort.
There's that thing about live to work and work to live, and I can't remember which one is the right one, but perhaps, despite what the world seems to tell us, despite the general feeling in, let's face it, what has become an almost terminally cynical world.
Perhaps it's possible to care about what you do.
Perhaps it's possible to believe in what you do.
Perhaps it's possible to believe in something for Christ's sake.
I mean, how many hours are you spending at work? A third of your life? A quarter?
You want to do something that you feel okay, and you're not some sort of, but proud of.
So you try.
You work hard to do better.
Yes.
Because it's not wrong.
Yes. Yes.
To believe.
Yes.
It's not wrong to want to believe in something.
I saw this program on aliens, and I suddenly realized, with absolute clarity, that I was an alien. Alien spores. And that was why, when the other kids were laughing at cartoons or something, a moose or cat, I think it was, getting killed, I would be horrified. I wonder why they were laughing at such terrible things. And they spent a good 4 years terrified that the CIA were going to take me away for some sort of experimentation.
Right, imagine this. You work for a credit card company.
You're in charge of policy.
Okay, you'd rather be a movie star or a footballer or an aid worker in Sudan, but you're not, and you're happy. You do your job and you get on with it.
You're a good person.
Not perfect.
No one's perfect.
So let's not judge. You want to do well for your family.
There are children.
A girl of 3 and an 18-month-old brother.
You argue about money.
And childcare.
And one day you have this idea.
You happen to notice that a large amount of people you turn down for credit get their credit from other sources.
Not so reputable sources.
And they happen to pay incredibly high rates of interest.
Sometimes the equivalent of an annual interest of 95%, 100%.
And you wonder about offering.
Not the package you've applied for.
No.
But another credit package. For people whose credit is already too bad for the one they have applied for.
And because their credit is bad, they pay more money.
Which makes sense.
Business. This is business.
And you look at the amount to be made on interest repayment.
And you look at the amount to be lost on the people who default.
And you take the second sum away from the first sum, and you realise that the difference is the size of a chunk of cash.
A very sizable chunk of profit for your company and its shareholders. And one day now, someone is bound to have the same idea. Ideas like this, they do not hang around for long.
And the question that you have to ask yourself is, are you the person who sat on the sidelines?
Are you the person who watched?
The question you really have to ask is simple. What kind of person are you?
Last week, I was standing in front of this window, staring at this bag. Do you mind if I... Thanks. Like this one, which I couldn't afford. And it was a really nice bag. It was. But it was like I couldn't move. I couldn't leave because of the bag. I mean, physically, I was rooted to the spot, and all the hair was standing up on the back of my neck. And it felt terrible, because I was getting so emotional over a fucking bag. And meanwhile, there's still no sign of a two-state solution in the Middle East. But then, it suddenly dawned on me that this bag was designed not to hold things, but to hold me. Thanks. And it was like hearing for the first time, and it felt so elated out of discovery, that I immediately went in and bought it, because it no longer held power over me. And I felt brilliance for the rest of the day. But when I thought about it again, later that evening, it just seemed stupid. of being in the moment, of being in a journey and its attraction to the universal. But I can't decide whether it's the right thing to do. Because, on the one hand, David Lynch is a Buddhist. But, on the other, so is Richard Gere. I've also thought about becoming some form of terrorist, a tramp, a lap dancer. Actually, anything that isn't me, I suppose.
But your mind might find itself wandering back to those figures.
Yes!
The second song.
The defaulters.
Things are still good.
Oh yes, things are still good. But your mind might find itself wandering back to the people in the second song. You might begin to look at these figures as
People.
because they are really.
You're not responsible.
All Alice, for Christ's sake.
But
You're not responsible, but
you might think of these people.
And their hardship.
And you might think that what one person does to another is a thing, like a real thing, and that systems and numbers are in some way not real. And the only thing that is real is a thing that you have done to another human being. And you begin to feel alone, separate. And you think of something you saw in a documentary, a card written in German that was part of a filing system. And you think of the person who put those terrible figures on that card, and how they must have thought of them as figures, and figures only. And you can't get the image of that fucking card out of your fucking head.
And you might think of someone.
A woman. The image of someone.
Overwhelmed.
It's not the fault of, but there are contributing factors.
Maybe this woman never felt.
The world.
Who fucking does?
But you begin to see her again and again, but in greater clarity, like you know her.
Like you are her or something.
Not all her, but part of her. I don't know.
And you begin to feel her becoming overwhelmed with life. And maybe she's trying to fucking well fit in.
and you might suddenly feel her panic.
Her confusion.
You might suddenly feel her panic and confusion overwhelming.
I'm staring at these forks in my hand, and I'm praying for a sign. Like 1 cent of forks, the squared off steel ones, for example, are suddenly going to get heavier. A sign that I should put back the curved, silver, more weighty ones. But then I thought, would the forks getting heavier be a sign that I should put them back, or that I should keep them? And then I felt the sweat break out on my forehead, and I felt the prickles under my armpits, and I felt the cold that sat around my heart creep out like a blanket of oil and expand into the rest of my body. And I thought, here we go! This is it! Here we fucking go! And I don't remember the rest.
And you see her on a ward,
Gone crazy in a shop vaulting.
crying, screaming.
Panicking, actual real terror.
And she's taken to a ward.
Section.
Only a weekend, but
When her husband visits, he is
Shocked.
Not so much at her, she's unhappy.
Embarrassed of anything.
I mean, he didn't expect.
Dribbling.
He
Rocking.
didn't expect.
Awards.
I mean, he should have done because they said she was on a ward.
He's frustrated.
And meanwhile, while you're going about your daily business, getting a coffee or something, the story is still running through your head.
And you imagine this man.
This teacher.
You imagine him.
He sits there in the living room.
Spreads everything out on the floor.
He has a pad and a pen and the calculator that he knows from work. Bills, statements, invoices.
And that night, after having to leave his wife in that place,
He's shocked.
He's shocked because he understands that all the numbers and figures and red letters add up to a void.
Avoiding her that he should be filling.
Shouldn't I?
And then he finds your great idea.
And he cries.
he cries deep from within his insides.
And he wonders how it ever got to this.
I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling great, actually.
He loves her.
And she loves him.
But you might not be able to look your partner in the face.
You might find the food now tastes the same.
Like plastic.
Like putting plastic into your mouth.
And you might suddenly find yourself prone to dark moods.
And you might wonder how to get rid of this feeling.
And you might drink.
And you might sleep with strangers.
And you might buy stuff, and buy stuff, and buy stuff.
And you might find that nothing works.
And you may have this terrible fear that
And you may have this terrible fear that every day, working or otherwise,
Will actually be like
wading through blood.